Today on the channel, we take a special trip to the orthodontist to visit an old friend named Dr. Mindbender from the G.I. Joe Classified series.
The spirit of Ultimate Warrior will run forever!
Welcome everyone, Kyle here, and welcome back to the channel for another G.I. Joe Classified unboxing and review. And today, we got the Hasbro Pulse San Diego Comic-Con exclusive Dr. Mindbender. But for all your other G.I. Joe needs and a whole lot more, make sure you're hitting up Entertainment Earth. Use discount code Kyle, save yourself 10% on all in-stock items, and of course, anything over $39 does ship free. And this is going to be our third G.I. Joe figure in the last week here on the channel, and man, I'm here for that. I could do a G.I. Joe figure every day. I like that they're finally pumping these out. I don't know if I could say regularly, but they're getting there. They're getting there. That's what they're trying to do, and I think some of this product issues, supply chain issues, all that is kind of going by the wayside, and we're finally getting some of this stuff out. That being said, very strange that this was announced and up for pre-order before Serpentor, and we are finally getting it now. Who knows what's going on anymore, but I'm just happy I got this in my hands right here to review today. And of course, we're going to do this review like we do all the other reviews on the channel. We're going to take a look at the packaging. We're going to talk about it. We're going to unbox it. We're going to talk about it. We're going to see where it goes from there. So let's take a look at our favorite orthodontist. I remember being a little kid and looking at the back on the file card for Dr. Mindbender and seeing he used to be an orthodontist at one time. And of course, Kyle, a kid who had 2 tours of duty with braces as a small child, just could really relate to Dr. Mindbender and said, man, I wish he was my orthodontist. But unfortunately, he was not. But I always thought that was a cool trivia history with Dr. Mindbender. One that, you know, he'll never live down. He'll never live it down. But here it is. Got a very cool packaging. Does go hand in hand with the Serpentor. The Serpentor packaging a little bit bigger than this. Of course, he had an air chariot with him. But very similar but different packaging style here. Of course, plastic-free once again, or pretty much plastic-free, we'll call it. We got the Cobra logos, but also the DNA logo. And I've always said Dr. Mindbender introduced a whole generation to what DNA was. Of course, that was a big thing. It's still a big thing, obviously. But that was the first time as a small child I ever heard the words DNA and kind of understood it a little bit, thanks to Dr. Mindbender bringing Serpentor to life. So very cool packaging there. On the side, he kind of got a little book hinge action. He is number 43. I think Serpentor was like 57 or something. So we're all over the place in the numbering department. But you can't see that. Nothing too fun over there. Nothing too fun on the top. You do got a 43. Nothing on the bottom. And then the back, that's where the magic happens. No cross-sell, this being an exclusive, but you get Dr. Mindbender in all kinds of different situations. Very cool stuff back there for old Dr. Mindbender. The good orthodontist, looking good, doing all of his experiments, things like that. Very, very cool. The front of the package does open up. I wish there was a little slip cover or something, because this does kind of open up on its own. If it had a slip cover like Serpentor had, it would keep it in one place, but that's neither here nor there. Whoa, 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 stop the clock. Future Kyle here, and as I was digging through my garbage, digging through the trash, breaking down my recycling, what did I come across but the slipcase cover of Dr. Mindbender? So they did give me one, thankfully, but it does look really cool there. As you can see, lines up just like Serpentor did. So I walked that back. They did have that. And then you do get the open up box there. You got him plastic free. You can touch your Dr. Mindbender all you want. You can touch him all you need to. Got some accessories over in the side compartments, but a very cool kind of diorama, almost like a lab background. But I will say that Serpentor, a little bit of a challenge getting out of the package, as we know. I'm expecting very similar fashion here with Dr. Mindbender. So I'm going to take it offline, get Dr. Mindbender out of the package, and we'll be back talking all things Dr. Mindbender. All right, we got Dr. Mindbender out of the package here. Let's break him down, and we got to start with all the accessories. This is, of course, a deluxe packaged figure. I got to assume we'll get a Dr. Mindbender down the road, probably a single-carded release, maybe with not all these accessories, maybe something different, or maybe just a few of these. That's my guess. Very similar to Serpentor. I think they're going to do that with him as well. So, I don't know. If you missed out on this, you might have a second chance down the line. But let's start with the accessories here. And we got a lot of different stuff going on. And first, I guess we'll start with some of these weapons. We do get a handgun pistol that does fit in the side of his leg there in the holster. So we do get that. All black color here. Not a lot going on, just pretty much plain pistol. It does have a spot for an effect piece like we saw with the Vipers. So I guess if you want to bring some of those guys over, you can plug them into here. But it's interesting, all these weapons getting spots for effect pieces with very little effects. I wonder if we're going to get one of the old school G.I. Joe like ammo packs, like way back in the 80s we got with all these kind of things. I think that would be a really cool thing. Maybe a Hasbro Pulse exclusive. I think that would go over really well. Maybe that's the case down the line. We'll see. And we do get one of these. I'm not sure if this is an actual gun or what this is, to be honest with you. It's a little interesting here, but it's got a little spot of silver on top. It almost looks like a doctor gun or a mechanical gun or something, or a welding gun maybe. I'm not exactly sure what this is, but he does have this as another weapon. Then we do get this big old blaster, kind of scientific looking blaster here. Silver in the front, black right here in the back. Very crazy. Once again, you do have a port on the end, so you can plug effect pieces in if you are so inclined. And then we do get this gun, very similar, very reminiscent of the original Dr. Mindbender toy from, let's call it 1987. Let's call it 87. It does have the hose on here, nice ribbed hose going on. Of course, this plugs in many different places, so you do have this. You can plug it into either one of these weapons, into this, I don't even know what you call this. I mean, it's all these crazy medical devices, and they aren't even orthodontical, so he's getting a little crazy. He's a mad scientist after all. But you can plug both ports of the hoses into this if you want to. One into this, one into the weapon, into both weapons. Choose your plug-and-play adventure is what you can do, but we do get all of these to mix and match and something like that. And I was never a big fan of that hose when I was a little kid. Obviously, the hose wasn't as detailed as this. It was really annoying and always kind of flopped around. So I was not a big fan of that back in the day, in my childhood. Then we get some crazy experiment pieces here, which I guess fits Dr. Mindbender as he's getting the DNA out. He's trying to build Serpentor. We do get a skull that has wrappings over the face and then a big crack in the head. The skull is removable here. You can pull it apart. One thing I noted right off the bat is there is no place to plug this into a figure. I think it would have been really cool if we could have plugged this into a figure just for the heck of it. It could be a torture experiment, something like that. I think that would have been a really cool feature. We do get a brain with this, so the brain does plug into the skull cap here, and this will fit over it. So you can put the brain in here, or this brain can be used for this kind of medical jar as well. It'll plug in here. Nice red bubble, plastic bubble around it, the gray around the side of it. Looks really good, so you can choose your own brain adventure. That's probably the only time we'll ever say that here on the channel. But a nice looking brain, as far as brains go, that I've seen in action figure form, I guess. So we do have that, and then we get a very similar situation here. We get a bigger tube here, and of course you can take the plastic off, just twist and turn very easily. And we do get a hand. So we got a hand with some wires out of it, a gray hand here. It looks like he's growing a hand or something in his laboratory. What's this doctor up to? Crazy things, of course. So we do have that. So you can build a nice little area around him, maybe keep the cardboard, put it up on the shelf, put a table there, and you can do all kinds of stuff with Dr. Mindbender. Then the last accessories we come with Dr. Mindbender here is one that's going to frustrate a lot of loose collectors because I can see these very, very easily being lost along the way. But we do get 3 of these little pins. I don't even know what you call these. Are these like the DNA, little vials of DNA? I'm not exactly sure, but they are extremely small. Possibly the smallest accessory we've had in the classified line to date. Not a big fan of these because they're just asking to be lost. When you are buying a Dr. Mindbender, if down the road you're buying a loose one of these, make sure you got 3 of these pins, these DNA samples, whatever they're called exactly, because I can see these things being very easily lost to the carpet forever. That would be an absolute travesty. I'm going to put them inside a ringside collectible stand right now, just in case. I'm not playing games. I don't want to lose these guys, and they very, very easily could be lost. We're going to stick those off to the side there. So plenty of accessories with Dr. Mindbender. Now we got to break down Dr. Mindbender himself, the old main eventer, Dr. Mindbender. And the first thing I noted here, and I'd heard rumblings, I keep my ears to the streets, that unfortunately Dr. Mindbender is being stained from his cape onto the plastic. Now, if you watched last week, the Kyle Peterson Top 5 list, a Thursday tradition here on the channel, I talked about the 5 things in wrestling figures that was the most disappointing for me in 2022. And the most disappointing thing, spoiler alert for you guys, is staining of action figures, specifically the wrestling variety. I don't care if it's Mattel, AEW, other lines out there. We've had a lot of staining issues over the last couple of years, and it's just ridiculous. Well, now apparently that is transferred over to Hasbro here, unfortunately. His Dr. Mindbender is stained on the shoulders. There is really no way to fix this. You could get a sander out and gently sand the plastic and start over, but guess what? This is going to start bleeding again, this cape. Now, they do say you could take this out, put it in hot water, kind of clean it, get some of that extra dye out and put it back on. But I'm telling you, you do that to this cape, it's never going to feel the same. It's never going to go back. To me, it's already stained. It's just pretty much a lost cause at this point. I am happy that it doesn't really show real well. You got to kind of look for it, so that's nice. It's not really right in your face like some of the wrestling figures have been, but still very disappointing in this day and age, especially with all the collectability and all the collectability of this line, and then the extra premium price point, the hard to get, being on Hasbro Pulse, being an exclusive. We shouldn't be fighting this. Hard enough to get these figures already. It's extra hard now to get one that's not stained. So that is a huge, huge disappointment. I'm hoping the G.I. Joe team at Hasbro takes this back to the lab, no pun intended, and gets this fixed, as I don't ever want to see staining again in the G.I. Joe line. You hear me, Hasbro? No more staining in the Joe line. Please don't do that to me. It breaks my heart enough in the wrestling one. I can't have this coming over into the G.I. Joe line. But that is disappointing, and I got to say, that's going to be the most disappointing thing of this figure. There's no doubt in my mind, because anytime you get a brand new figure like that, we're expecting pretty close to perfection, and we're not getting that. Right off the bat, we got some issues. So there it is. Staining, I'm sure most of your guys' are stained as well. If they aren't, I guess get that cape off as fast as you can, and maybe he'll just be capeless. Who knows? Who knows? But I guess speaking of the cape, we might as well finish it off. It is a nice cloth cape going on here, a nice shine to it as well. One thing missing, and if my childhood memory is correct, it had the Cobra logo on his cape, so we don't see that here. I guess if they do re-release him, that's one of the changes they could make to make him feel different. They could put the Cobra logo on his cape there. Dr. Mindbender, always quite the snazzy dresser. I heard, he'd wear this when he was an orthodontist as well. He looks almost like something out of the British Steel Rob Halford Judas Priest tour back in the day. Something like Rob would wear. Maybe not the purple, but more with the black and silver attack. But Dr. Mindbender looking pretty good. Very classic styling with the suspenders. No shirt. Who needs a shirt? They give him service. They always say no shirt, no service. Not Dr. Mindbender. They let him right in the front door every time. So no shirt going on. He does got the big forearm gauntlets there that are sculpted in. He's got the bicep tape around him like he's a wrestler or something. He's got that going on. Of course, he's got the black gloved hands, looking good. Silver suspenders into a black belt that goes down to the holster on the side. Purple pants, because he's all about the purple, apparently. Big old boots with the big knee guards there. Just really crazy. He looks like he's getting ready to fence somebody back in the olden days, in the Renaissance era or something. And then he's got some interesting shoes going on with the buckle. Looks very interesting. Looks like a pilgrim's kind of boots going on there. Very, very interesting look to Dr. Mindbender, but on point, because this is what he wore back in the day. Of course, he is probably the second most famous person to ever wear a monocle. As we do know, Mr. Peanut still holds the crown on that, but he does have a monocle going on right there that looks really good. I like that it's attached, that it isn't removable, because there's another thing that'd be lost really easily. And very similar to the Baroness G.I. Joe Classified, where it is a clear piece of plastic. I love you can see his eye through it. So many times we get glasses that are just, painted on. This is looks like an actual lens, so I really, really do like that. All day long, this is Dr. Mindbender. Somebody hands me this, I'm going to know who it is. It's definitely not Mr. Peanut. It's close, but it's not quite there. I love the big handlebar mustache going on like a young Raleigh Fingers back in the day on steroids. Maybe even a Goose Gossage. Who knows? Who knows? But he looks really good. I love the head on him. I guess breaking down the articulation a little bit, we do get the head that goes up, way down. Tons of articulation. Then you even get the neck articulation. So a double whammy articulation. I do not have any staining on the neck or anything like that, so that is always a positive. We do got a nice hole in his back, so he could have, if need be, a backpack put in there. We do get the butterfly shoulders on the good doctor here. Of course, double jointed, pinless elbows. I'm here for that. Hands back and forth, side to side. No extra hands with the good doctor here, so we're not going to replace any hands or anything like that. He does have waist articulation, a little bit limited by his suspenders, and then you do get the ab crunch, which you got to have with the Joes. He can do the big old Dr. Mindbender orthodontist splits, and then, of course, you got the drop-down hips, and you guys know I'm not the biggest fan of those, but we do have those here. We got the thigh cut. We do got the double-jointed pinless knees. boot cut, and ankles. So he is ready for articulation. He's ready for his next gymnastics tournament. He's ready to create Serpentor if need be. He can do a lot of things. Heck, he can put braces in your kid if you need to. A Dr. Mindbender, a total renaissance man, but a good-looking one, and one of my favorites. I've told you before, I've loved all eras of the G.I. Joe from the Real American Hero series, but something about when Sergeant Slaughter, Serpentor, Dr. Mindbender, Beachhead, those guys entered into the arena. That's really what G.I. Joe was. It was always right here, but it went to like up here for me. I love that era of G.I. Joe the best. Maybe it's something to do with my age bracket. That could possibly be part of it. I know a lot of people didn't like the sci-fi elements and things like that, but I really did. And once again, maybe that's just what a 5, 6, 7-year-old kid likes at the end of the day. Does he fit on a ringside collectible stand? Use discount code Kyle, save yourself 10%. Man, he fits like a glove. Those stands are $2.99 for a 10-pack right now on Ringside, part of their holiday sale. Now's the time to load up for the year. That's what I do. I buy a ton for all my Marvel, all my G.I. Joe, all my NECA, all my wrestling. I buy them all this time of year and just have them ready to go because got to get a deal, and I like to spend my money on my figures, not so much my stands. I'm sure you guys are probably in that same boat there. But there's Dr. Mindbender. Having a little comparison, we'll put him against the true leader of G.I. Joe, my boy Flint right there, so you can kind of see that. They scale pretty much the same right here. Then we got to bring out the Hall of Famer, the big boy, the old Serpentor. Look at that. Serpentor is an absolute giant. He is a big, big dude. It makes me excited for Nemesis Enforcer. We need the Nemesis Enforcer, and I got to imagine he'll be even bigger than this. Some big old deluxe wings. Man, I'm going to be here for that one. I hope that's a big deluxe package. Hopefully we get that in 2023. Man, oh man. And then give me a Cobra Law box set. This is a San Diego Comic-Con exclusive. If you're not going to do Cold Slither, give me the Cobra Law team. I'm here for it. I'm excited about this G.I. Joe line. You guys know it is my absolute favorite. It does tug on my childhood heartstrings, so I'm excited anytime I get one of these guys like Dr. Mindbender from my childhood updated in this day and age. So another slam dunk figure. Just very, very disappointing on this staining. Like I said, in this age, 2022, the year we're in right now, this should not be happening. Should not be happening. And I hope this is the only time we ever have to discuss this in the G.I. Joe Classified brand. So there it is. There's Dr. Mindbender. What are your guys' thoughts? Let me know in the comments down below. Did you pick it up? You pass? How badly stained is yours? Let me know in the comments down below. Of course, you made it this far. Make sure you like the video. Always helps the channel to give it the old thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Hit the old notification bell as well. As you guys know, we got videos every single day, including all things G.I. Joe. Never going to miss a G.I. Joe unboxing here on the channel. Make sure you hit the old notification bell. Check out the Patreon channel for early access to videos like this, bonus content, exclusive content, giveaways, Q&As, you name it. A lot going on over there on the old Patreon, and best of all, you do support the channel. You can also support the channel at ProWrestlingTees.com, and don't forget to follow along on social media, SirPaul64 over there on Twitter, Instagram, _Kyle_Peterson. So for Dr. Mindbender and orthodontists everywhere, I'm Kyle, and I'll see you guys all real soon.